Greetings. This is episode 6 of the Sales Matter podcast. My name is Temba. I'm the host and founder of Sales Matter. Sales Matter is a business we're passionate about Africa, bringing solutions around data analytics technology to drive innovation and growth. We bring to you subject matter experts on a weekly basis to share insights and possibly answer some of the burning questions you've always had in your businesses to help you elevate to the next level. Today I'm sitting with a lovely guest, Mr. Lincoln Mali, who's the CEO Southern Africa of Lesaka Technologies. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Emma. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. So I think, I want to do justice by you. I don't want to miss anything.
Yes.
Introduce yourself the way you want to. No limits to the audience. Go for it.
My name is Lincoln Mali. I'm the CEO for Lesaka Technologies. I am a father, I am a husband, and I'm passionate about leadership, and I'm passionate about this continent, and I'm passionate about making a difference in all aspects of my life.
For those who don't know what Lesaka Technologies is, can you please take us through that, what you guys doing briefly?
We are a multifaceted fintech that focuses on both consumers and merchants. But its main real focus is on financial inclusion. How can you use technology to broaden access to people who were previously excluded from financial services, be they, social grant recipients, be they spaza shops, be they informal businesses in the community.
Yeah.
That's what we try and do. And 100%. We bring innovation and technology in those spaces.
Okay. We'll dive deep a little bit later in terms of the business, how you guys do what you do, how you achieve some of your milestones and stuff. I want to first get to know you as a person, and I think it's only fair that our audience get the same opportunity. As an icebreaker, really, I want to ask you this following question. I'm interested to hear how you're going to approach it, right? So when you think of Lincoln growing up, Lincoln as a young boy, if I can put it like that, yes. How did your early life lessons shape, your aspirations and the person you've become today?
At 18 years old, I was expelled from school.
Okay.
I was in and out of jail. I was in and out of court. We were trying to leave the country. We were a group of very angry young people. We were called the lost generation. We were called the marginalized youth. And all we wanted to do was to bring the apartheid system down. But my father intervened by giving me a different perspective to say that it's not the size of the stone I can throw against the police or the potency of the petrol bomb I can throw against the army. It's the quality of education I can get. It's the values I can imbibe. It is the principles I can uphold. It's the kind of person I can build myself up to be that will determine what the future would hold. And that gave me a sense of what leadership was about. Because before that, I was not conscious of the enormous responsibility that comes with leadership. And therefore, as I was going through all of that, my father, my mom, my priests, my sporting coaches, my teachers did not give up on me.
Okay.
They made sure that I am the person that I am today. So fast forward to when I now had an opportunity to lead. I couldn't find models that appealed to me.
Okay.
The only model that really appealed to me was servant leaders who were like my teachers, who were like my sports coaches and my priests. If you go home today and you go to where you came from,
yes,
or where you grew up, you'll see your teacher. You'll see your school principal or your priest. They may not have moved up economically like you.
100%.
But when they see you, their face lights up because their calling was to produce people like you. I wanted to be a leader like that produces other leaders.
That's beautiful.
That helps other people to succeed in their goals. So those early experiences have helped shape who I am and help me realize that I am here for a purpose to help others to become better.
100%. Have you always had the desire to become CEO one day?
No. one of the things that my father taught me was never be obsessed about titles,
Okay.
never be obsessed about roles, never be obsessed about upward mobility. So it shocks people because the way I was brought up, you ran away from titles, you ran towards responsibility, you ran towards service, not being served. So whatever title I've had has meant nothing to me. I'm still the same person.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so the title CEO is what is talked about.
Okay,
But for
okay.
me, I'm Lincoln. This is who I am. If I'm leaving the company, I'm somewhere else, I'm with my friends, I'm Lincoln in any environment.
Yeah.
And I bring myself to work. If serving is beneath you, then leading is beyond you. So for me, service is at the core. The title, yes, comes with it.
100%.
And the last thing I'll say on this is also a mantra that I carry with me that says the goal must always be bigger than the role. Which means that in whatever environment you're in, you must be obsessed about the goal,
Yeah.
the purpose, the mission they're on.
Yeah.
So that you will play whatever part that you need to play to get to that mission and accomplish that objective. So the title becomes less of an issue.
100%.
It is a responsibility, but others have a responsibility. And
Yes,
that's the
yes.
culture I want to create in every working environment I'm in. If you go to many people that have worked with me and you say, what was Lincoln's title? They wouldn't tell you. What was Lincoln's role? They wouldn't tell you. Because I see myself as the mascot. I see myself as the person who has to lead from the front with a flag, not behind with a whip.
100%. I like that. Talking about goals, right? I've been following your work, following what you guys do at Lesaka and stuff, and I've seen, on the news that you guys are actually pointing towards the right direction, which is amazing. Congratulations on that. I want to find out from you, how does the landscape of business look like today in South Africa, and are we in trouble?
We are in trouble as a country, and businesses are finding it even more difficult to operate because of the environmental factors, energy, infrastructure, crime and corruption. All of those things have a big impact on business. But if you flip it, in those environments, businesses will emerge that are able to manage their environment
Okay.
and be able to win in spite of the odds, right? So
are you in short saying in difficult times something dies, but also something is born?
indeed, but I'm also making 2 points.
Okay.
There's a point where I'm saying to businesses, you can't abdicate your responsibility to work towards a solution. The solutions will not only come from politicians, not only from government. There are certain things where we as business have to hold hands to solve some of the intractable problems that the country faces. I am part of the CEOs who signed a pledge to say we will work with government, whatever government of the day, to solve the energy problem, to solve the transport and logistics problem where we're not able to get goods out, we're not able to get goods in, our roads are clogged, we can't get ships to dock, all of those kinds of things, and then solve some of the corruption and crime things because they have a huge impact on business and on society. So that's one aspect where I have to play a role, if you want to use the word, as a CEO of a listed company.
Okay.
But I have another role as a CEO of a listed company where I have to say to my team, we have a responsibility to shareholders who've invested their money. They know the times are difficult, they know the environment is difficult, but we have a responsibility to take the business to the next level in spite of the problems.
Okay.
So I'm avoiding these two extremes. The one extreme is people just say there's problems in the country, nothing works, and then they give up.
Oh, okay, okay.
Those businesses that are doing that are destroying their own businesses. Difficult as it is, we have to work on finding the solutions. On the other hand, I'm also fighting this thing where you say, it's all dark, my business is not going to succeed, you already see their problems. I'm saying the responsibility to lead is there even in the darkest hour. And that's when we're called upon to find that something extra, either in a societal way or in your business way. You've got to find a way.
What's the one thing that helps you to still see light at the end of the tunnel?
I love this country.
Okay.
I've traveled the world. I've studied all over the world, but this is my home. I love its people. I know what it can be. And our founding fathers and mothers had such a dream for this country. In the darkest of times, they still saw a country that could be a model to the world. They left us with an amazing legacy of sacrifice, service, humility, humanity. My generation has failed, but the next generation is what excites me.
Okay.
That's why I spend a lot of my time with young people, because what I see in them is what somebody saw in me when I was young.
Yes, yes.
So South Africa is going through a lot of challenges. But when we put our minds together, when we rally around, we are able to succeed against all odds. And that's what I want to, harness and build on.
Okay. So let's bring technology into the picture, right? You run a fintech type of a business and stuff. How are you seeing technology evolving, right? Possibly into the future. But also, what do you think businesses should be doing to prepare themselves for what's about to come?
I think sometimes we scare people with the terms, right, about technology, emerging technologies and all of that. I'll just give you a sense of how I always think about these things. When I woke up this morning, my phone told me everything that happened when I was asleep. All those technologies embedded in that phone told me how I slept, how I rested, and so on. When I got into the car, I could punch where I was going, and technology was able to get me here.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
In the car's mechanics and all of the data was telling me, do this now, do that now, do that now. So it's not technology versus people. It's technology and people.
Okay.
It's how do we harness technology to solve problems? What are the pain points that a customer has or a person has? How can you use technology to solve that problem?
100%.
So the way I want businesses to think of technology, understand the customer problem or the customer desire, and find solutions that are either solving a problem or a pain point or meeting a need or a desire. Once you do that, you're not going to have an adoption problem because you are tackling exactly where the problem is. So in our business, we know, for an example, we work with social grant beneficiaries.
Okay.
There are
okay.
12 million social grant beneficiaries in the country. Most people think it's old age grant. Old age grant is part of it. Child support grant is part of it. Veterans grant and disability grant.
Okay.
None of those people can get access to finance today. They cannot get a loan. They have to go to a mashonisa. So we developed a product where we can lend to people that the market has not embraced. We can give them a funeral plan where the market cannot give them a funeral plan. We can give them access to an account where the market is not giving them that. Or let's take a garage or what they call a service station.
Yes,
right?
yes.
If you go to a garage and you pay your money, somebody takes it to the till. Under that till is a safe where the money gets in. But that safe is not a dump safe, it's a digital safe. As soon as that money is put in, it's digitized. It's available to the entrepreneur to pay anybody because we've taken the risk and we've digitized that cash, right? But because every money that comes in is in that safe, we have a sense of the data of what's happening there every hour, every second.
Okay.
So when this person wants to
You're
borrow
speaking
money,
my language now.
when the person wants to borrow money,
Yeah.
we can borrow money because we can see. You don't need to wait for 3 years financial statements. We can see the data that's there. That's how, again, technology is helping somebody access financing by going on their app and apply. Within hours, they've got money up to 5 million rands.
Yes.
You go to a spaza shop. A spaza shop wants to sell VES products, airtime, data, all of that.
Yes.
So we are able to give them money to buy those things in order to on-sell to their clients.
Yes, 100%.
But we can go further and enable them to take card payments because more people are now having cards and more people are tapping in townships and in villages. But that gets more. When they want to buy something from the cigarette company, they want to buy something from the bread company and whatever, again, on their POS device, they can place an order of the goods they want. That those guys don't have to bring a truck with money or carry money. They just bring the goods, the QR code, then they've got that. That's supplier payments. Right? In the tavern space, we just bought a company now called Tatsides. It's got over 10,000 taverns where they've got the technology that they can see every sale that's happening real time. And they can work out pricing, they can work out offers. We now have the ability to take that data analytics and artificial intelligence that's predictive, use it in the other 80,000 merchants we have.
That's amazing.
So these are investments in the informal sector through technology that changes the landscape.
You talk about something that I'm passionate about. I've been involved in the sales space for quite some time. But what I've realized is that so many businesses, don't use science to drive sales success.
Yes.
And I believe that's where that data analytics come in.
Yes.
And possibly today that AI that you've just mentioned, that way it also comes in and stuff. I'm really inspired by how you guys have managed to use data to really, drive innovation and possibly evidence-based decision making. What are you seeing in the market? Are you seeing that most businesses are really leveraging on their data, or they kind of sleeping on that opportunity?
It's still at its early stages.
Infancy.
Because even the people who understand data, they don't understand some of the basics of getting data to work for you.
Okay.
How you collect the data. You have to start there. How are you going to collect the data? How do you store the data? How do you sort the data? How do you protect the data? Then how do you analyze the data and then use the data? So most people want to start with, I want big data. No. Before you get there, some basics have to be there. Because if the basics are not there, you are going to send me a happy anniversary message as part of your sales on my day of divorce.
Oof.
Because you haven't followed those disciplines. Or you are going to be compromising the data of clients because you haven't protected yourself against cybercrime.
Cyber attacks, yeah.
Right? Or you would have fallen foul of the data laws of the country by your staff not knowing what to do or how to share data and things of that sort.
100%.
So there's still a lot to learn by people understanding what your end game with data, but what are the steps? How are you going to train people? Also, let's take the example of sales. If you run a sales force, we now use data to tell the sales teams how they're doing.
100%.
How they're doing where, in which product, in which geography, in what way, on which dates, all of that. This is an army of salespeople you are sending out there. To send them out there to win a war without the right weapons is irresponsible.
Sure.
But when you've got the data, you can give them all of that. When we started 3 years ago, I couldn't tell you what we sold the entire month or 2 months or 3 months.
Are you serious?
We didn't have any of those capabilities. Today, we can tell you what we've sold real time. Real time. We've got data, we've got dashboards, we've got all of that. So at the end of each month, we're able to say, in fact, the teams are able to say, hey, I've won. I won this incentive because I can see the data.
I can see the
data. It's not only your data, it's their data. Because you must get your team to also understand the data and use the data. Wow. That's how they set targets, how they plan what they're going to do every day. They know the big times, big dates, what they're going to do. They know the slow times, what they're going to do. We all just keep on learning. And it's not for the data people only. It's
not for data people only. That's it 100%.
It's integrated. Once they know what you're trying to do, the data people will play magic and they will work with you.
You're speaking my language.
Thank you.
You're speaking my language because I was in Zambia and we're having these discussions, with some of our potential clients in there because my vision really for South Smarter is quite simple, and hence the name. When we thought of the name South Smarter, we were thinking of something that's gonna be catchy, but also it's clear on what we're wanting to achieve.
Yes.
All we're wanting to achieve is to help businesses sell smarter.
Yes.
And like you've said,
yes.
3 years ago when you joined the business, you were not doing things smarter, if I can put it like that.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
True.
100%.
True.
Until you got to a point where you said, guys, we need to be smart about how we do things. We need to know this. We need to say this.
Yeah.
We can't just operate on the gut feel. We can't just operate on hypothetical, imagination type of thinking and stuff. Let's bring evidence into the mix and stuff. Let's see what we're dealing with and all this type of things. So I'm really passionate about that space, and this is why we're growing the business across, across the continent, to really bring this insights, especially from a data perspective. I want to ask you a question right now when it comes to navigating this competitive market, space that we're finding ourselves in. How are you dealing with competition yourself?
We as leaders need to understand the competition very well, understand its strengths, understand its weaknesses, and so on. But more importantly, we've got to understand what's our value proposition.
Okay.
What are we good at?
What are we good at?
What are we good at? What's the promise we're giving to the customer, right? Can we get better at it all the time? Because the competition is going to do their thing. There are companies that spend their time worried about the competition. That's not good. There are also companies that ignore the competition. That's not good. Play your game. Be better and better at your game, but understand where the competition's at. Always be reading that. To your people, also have to understand competition, but also be able to give you real-time information back as to what's happening in the market. Oh, the competition has changed the pricing. The competition has done that. The competition has got this new thing. It allows for innovation to take place.
100%.
Thirdly, the culture must be such that ideas flow in an organization, up and down, sideways, all of that. That's when innovation comes. And innovation must be around the customer. Let's always start with the customer in mind.
I'm so glad you've mentioned culture because, and sorry to interrupt you, I'm so glad you've mentioned culture because that's what's going to be my follow-up question, right? I feel like it's easy to talk about culture, but it's not, I don't think it's easy to then, do. I don't think it's easy to implement.
Yes.
How do you get it right in your space? How do you get everyone on board?
Yes.
Thinking the same way?
Yes.
Not necessarily the same way, but, driving towards the same vision, driving towards the same goal. We might be slightly different in our approach, but we know what the end game is. Yes. How do you achieve that in your space?
So you remember earlier you were talking about this thing of CEO.
Yeah.
Right? I see myself as the Chief Energy Officer.
Oh, Chief Energy Officer.
I see myself as the Chief Entertainment Officer.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Okay.
Because it is the biggest part of my responsibility to make sure that each and every one of the people that work in our company understand who we are and what we're trying to do. Understand who they are and how they fit in what we're trying to do. How we can get their personal ambitions and goals to align with the ambitions and goals of the company. And how we are driving more collaboration and teamwork. It's a daily battle. You can't say I've got 2,300 people and assume that they're all aligned and they're all happy and the culture is whatever. So your job as a leader is to work 7 layers down. Keep on working 7 layers down to make sure there is alignment.
There's alignment, yeah.
So that requires lots of listening. Lots of listening. It requires lots of talking. Lots of visibility on the ground, not in offices only. It's where we have our branches, where we have our care centers, where we have, the people must know you. They must feel that they can talk to you, they can relate to you, they can engage you, they can challenge you. Once you get that, it starts to work. In the beginning, the trust levels are low. People see you and they're like, here comes another one. One of these leaders.
Because they've been dealing with probably...
They would have experiences, whatever they
yeah.
were with previous leaders. The point is for you, you have to say, here's how I would want to lead. And you're not alone. You're with the other collective of other leaders. Because if you are not aligned as leaders, people will see through it. You know, it's like our kids. Our kids will know if there's differences between their parents. They see. Yeah? So we must create an environment where people can be themselves.
100%,
They can enjoy
100%.
themselves. They can achieve things. They can get recognition. Their voices are heard and all of that. Once you start to do that, it starts to build something. So when we started 3 years ago, most of the people working in the company were embarrassed to even call the name of the company because of the challenges that we'd gone through. And so they couldn't be proud of their company. But we worked together and we bought another company, which is a huge company, highly successful fintech that was called Connect. So between the old Net1 and Connect, we created Lesaka.
Okay.
And Lesaka is a crawl. And in many of our communities, a crawl is sacrosanct. That's where people keep their most prized assets.
100%.
Which is their cattle,
Which is
or their
cattle,
sheep,
yeah.
and whatever. So we wanted to create that crawl mindset among our people. And we didn't have a huge budget because we were a loss-making company at the time. But we made sure that we build this brand through us. Today, our staff now proudly say, I'm Lesaka.
Yeah, wow,
I'm
that's
part
amazing.
of Lesaka. I'm part of EasyPay. I'm part of Kazang. I'm part of Cash Connect. We've also allowed the sub-brands to really come to the fore because the customers will not know Lesaka. The customers will know EasyPay everywhere. They'll know EasyPay. They'll know Kazang. They'll know Cash Connect. They'll know Card Connect. That's what we want. And the teams will also identify themselves with those sub-brands. And that's fine. Because we say to them, if you ask, most people who talk to me, they'll say, I'm Lincoln. If they're upset with me, they'll say Mali. So I say to them, my first name is Lincoln. My surname is Mali. So their first name can be Kazang. Their surname is Lesaka.
Okay.
You can be EasyPay everywhere. Surname is Lesaka.
Yeah,
So
I get that.
Lesaka will come where it needs to come. But all employees know they are part of Lesaka. But when they go out to the customers, they're wearing their Kazang shirt and they're talking to spaza shops about Kazang. That
100%,
makes sense.
100%.
Somebody goes to a garage, they go there and talk about Cash Connect because that's how it is. So we've tried to build that culture. And the last thing we've worked on is a value system where we've trained all of our staff on our values. Now we are working on living those values.
I love
And
that.
people are starting to hold us accountable using those values.
Those values.
to say, but you said we will act like this, and you've not acted like that.
I like that.
And so it's a journey. So the first 3 years has been building the culture. The next 3 years is to make the culture come alive.
I love that. I love that. You know, I love everything you're saying, right?
Thank you.
And I'm also now interested in your in-depth, predictions on how you believe that customer behavior might evolve in the coming years. What are you seeing in change of how people will likely,
Yeah.
do things?
Yeah. So I think that we have to find a way in answering that question to know that customers are not homogeneous.
Okay.
And so the prediction cannot work as if we're dealing with homogeneous customers. So I'm going to try and divide them into broad categories,
Okay.
although there are many subcategories even within that. So let me talk about the digital natives, right? Our kids who, as they start waking up, they're already scrolling, right? So that world will do more things online than anything else. Their lives will be in the mobile that they carry. Their shopping, their buying, their entertainment, everything. So when I worked with the Chinese, they had things like WeChat. WeChat, inside that WeChat is everything. It's your equivalent of Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, shopping, everything is there. When you're in that super app, there's no need to get out.
There's no need to step out.
Everything you want is
Wow.
within that,
Yeah.
right? So that's a big change that's going to happen. More personalization.
More personalization.
You're
Okay.
going to see that trend coming through. More personalization is going to
Hyper personalization.
hyper personalization. Thirdly, those groups of people will lose less and less cash. You go to China, there are major cities with zero cash. Zero. Just no cash. Some of those people will use more blockchain
Okay.
and other technologies that are like that to use the distributed ledger, method to deal with financial services. They'll be more focused on doing things with companies of purpose.
I love
And buying on the basis of brands and what brands stand for. And those customers as staff will also want to work for companies with a purpose, right? And the last thing I see in that world is also how social media is going to be monetized, right? Whether it's your Facebook, YouTube, TikTok,
Yeah.
WhatsApp, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a commercial opportunity there. Because all there is data. It's data moving around.
100%.
It can be a video, a picture. Why can't it be cash or money? Not cash. Why can't it be money that you're moving around, right? So that world, the technologies will go big on those lives.
I love that.
Then-
and I can see it. I can see what you mean.
Yeah. The second group are people who are not as close to technology today and not close to financial service today, not close to commerce today. And fintechs or paytechs, I have now identified these people, what Professor C.K. Prahalad calls the bottom of the pyramid.
Okay.
How do we make technology to come to make sure that there's better health in far-flung areas by just using technology?
By just using technology.
How do we bring communication better in those environments when they don't need to use a phone as in the old way, they leapfrog to use the phones we have? How do we have money or store of value sent to people, maybe from a donor agency to a village? You look at M-Pesa and what has happened in Kenya. So that's where you see those customers evolving, because they'll go a different path to these customers, but they will also be influenced by technology, as long as that technology is trying to solve some of their intractable
100%,
problems
100%.
or address their needs or desires.
What are you seeing as differences between South Africa, Zambia, Ghana? Let's maybe start it there.
Yeah. I think that businesses in Zambia, Ghana, and other countries have adapted more to what I call macroeconomic challenges or problems,
Okay.
or problems of government and whatever. Many businesses in those markets don't look for government to solve problems. In some of the times, they see government as a perennial challenge or perennial problem, but they've got a business to run.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why when somebody from Ghana or Zambia then comes to South Africa with all its problems, they're like, wow, look at the opportunities here.
Because they're focusing on the solution.
They focus on the solution.
Okay,
Because they haven't had to believe a lot, right? Maybe in the early years of independence, they might have believed that government will help us in some way.
That's a good point.
Over time, they realize that it's not going to help. You've got,
We might just roll up our sleeves.
let's find a way, because the dysfunctionality is embedded in the system, right? It's not as if they are agreeing with it or accepting it, but they've got a business to run. So they find ways within the dysfunctionality to make business to work and succeed.
Oh my goodness.
So when I worked in Ghana and I worked in Zambia,
Yeah.
the first thing I had to do was to drop my South Africanness, walk into a geography and not wanting to be an expert on Zambia or Ghana, and be a student of that country. You understand the people. You work to understand the nuances. You seek to understand the cultural nuances, all of those dynamics. By the time you finish, you are part of the community by people embracing you. What I find with South Africans is that in businesses, we still are isolated. We still don't have a lot of influences from outside, particularly from the continent. And we block ourselves from those influences. But if you walk in Lusaka today, you see so many South African businesses. You go to Ghana today, you see so many South African businesses. But we don't see the same in our retail environment, in banking and whatever, of those businesses. Of course, in the spaza environment, you're seeing more foreigners in that environment. So this is how the world is going to work. You will always have, you can create the right framework from a law point of view, which is necessary, but you are not going to stop the free flow of ideas, the free flow of commerce, the free flow of trade. It's inevitable.
100%.
What you have to do is to create the right framework for it to work, so that it doesn't prejudice people of a particular country or prejudice customers. But in general, our trucks from South Africa are going to the continent every single day. Those are the realities. So when sometimes people say, we must block off other countries. Oh, well, imagine if all those countries said, okay, no more trucks from South Africa.
No more trucks from South Africa.
So we must be careful that we don't address a problem and create other problems.
Okay.
So my sense is, I learned so much about business and how to do business from my travels on the continent.
Okay.
So Zambia, for example, was one of my first experiences to lead. I was very, very young.
Okay.
To lead, a board, to lead a bank. I'd never run even a spaza shop. I was young. I was told you will run 3 banks in 3 different countries, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Malawi. And I learned so much. And the relationships I built then, I still have them today.
Nice.
In Zambia, in Ghana, Nigeria, DRC, all of these places.
Nice. I love that. I love that. That's really amazing. Sure. This is too inspiring, really. You know, I could listen to you any day, really.
You say.
Yeah, and I really wish we can have you back.
Thank you.
Because there's so much really that I'm learning from from what you're saying, and I also believe that our viewers will definitely take a lot of what you've just said right now. I want to ask you two more last questions before we wrap up. I like keeping this episode short because it gives an opportunity to have you back.
Okay.
If you give us everything at once,
Yes.
then there's no reason why you should come back and stuff. But we want you to return.
Thank you.
What are the top 3 questions you believe that leaders should be asking themselves today?
I think for me the first one is, am I worthy to lead? If
Ego will always say yes.
Yes, but you have to tell yourself the truth. If the people that I lead were to have an opportunity to vote, would they choose me? That's a deeply important thing you have to ask yourself as a leader. The second question is, why do I want to lead? Is it the perks? Is it the power? Is it the status? Is it the money? Or is it a higher calling?
Okay.
If it's the perks and the status and everything, or a lot of bling, you're going to make status, bling, power type decisions. If it's a higher calling, you will make more decisions that are focused on, right?
Yeah.
A higher calling.
Aligned to that calling.
Yes.
Okay.
The third one is your business helping society
Okay.
to progress, or is it selfishly just focusing on a return to shareholders? For me, that's narrow. Businesses must try and focus on shared value so that success for the company is success for society.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once we do that, we can create societies that are enduring. We can create businesses that are enduring. The old model that we're taught in some business schools, where all you have to do is to just give a return to shareholders, are not helping you. I think social and environmental and governance, ESG is giving us a sense of the importance of all of these other things, which is society, which is the environment, which is communities, which is your staff and your shareholders. Looking at that holistically is the way to look at business. And so you should ask yourself, what impact are you having on society? What impact are you having on your staff? What impact are you having on your communities as a business? Those are the 3 questions I would ask as a leader.
Okay. So as a leader, I'm going to refrain from calling you CEO. Let's maybe just refer to you as a leader.
Yes. Yes.
As a leader, I believe that you have to make a lot of decisions on a daily basis. Is it correct?
No.
Okay, not really.
I think that the more senior you are,
okay,
the less decisions you should be making on a daily basis.
Okay.
Right? If you're making so many decisions, there's something wrong. Because many of our companies are over-governed, micromanaged, and under-led.
Okay.
When they are more led, there's more decision-making closer to the customer. You have to give decision-making closer to the customer, because it's the people in the cold face who understand what's going on day to day. Your job as a leader is to make the consequential decisions.
Okay.
They are fewer, but they are more consequential.
Yes.
As to where we're going to invest, what company we're going to buy, what technologies are we going to invest in. Those kind of decisions, those you make. The day-to-day, as I speak to you now, it's grant day.
Yes.
My colleagues are out there dealing with the customers. I'm not there. You haven't seen me try and touch my phone and what's going on. No.
You trust them.
I have to trust them with my life. I have to believe in them. And if those staff members are there as a branch manager, something goes wrong, that branch manager needs to know what to do. Above them, there's a regional manager. They need to know what to do. Above them, there's a provincial head. They need to know what to do. So trusting those processes and those levels is very, very important. I remember when I used to work for one of the major banks, and somebody would call me and say, something is happening in this place in Nigeria. And because Nigeria's got about 36 provinces or states, and I'd been to about 28. So I understand. So when somebody mentions the place, I know where it is.
You know where it is, yeah.
So somebody says, Joel, there's this place we must intervene. I said, what do you mean? We're here in Joburg. Do you know that how difficult it is to get a flight? And the flight is to move from Joburg to Lagos. Then you have to fly from Lagos to Abuja. From Abuja to Kano. Then you have to drive to that place. 3-4 days later, you're not there. So, but those people on the ground, all the way to the CEO of the bank in that country, are empowered to make those decisions.
I love that. I love that.
Not me sitting here trying to run what's going on in Nigeria, sitting behind a desk.
It's not gonna work.
Not gonna work.
In a situation where you have to make a decision yourself, how do you know if your decision that you're making is right?
You can't know it until you've made it. The only thing you can do is to always ask yourself, do I have the facts in front of me? What does the data tell me?
The data, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
2, what are my prejudices?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are prejudiced towards something, sometimes you lean towards that.
Yeah. You're biased.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thirdly, are there others that can influence this decision that I can also listen to? Collective decisions are important. Of course, you've got the final accountability, but collective wisdom helps. So there are times when I'm going to make a decision, but I'll ask some of the people before I make the final decision. Right? The 4th one is to know that what you're doing is fair, is objective, and is transparent.
100%.
And then when you've done all of that and you've made the decision, you have to communicate the decision. What was the thinking behind the decision? What factors did you factor? And this is what you do.
100%.
Let me give an example. Retrenchment is one of the most difficult decisions a company has to make. If you jump and make a decision to retrench and you've not removed the other costs, that's irresponsible. But on the other hand, if you've done all of that and what faces you is that you have to make a decision on retrenchment and you don't make it, that's also not good. If you've gone down that decision path of retrenchment, how is it going to be done? How is the humanity of doing that? So that the people who've left, painful as it is, lived with dignity. The people who remain stay and still want to be part of the company.
100%.
Right?
100%.
And so those are difficult decisions. And when you've made it, you have to own it. And you have to go and explain it. Right? So those are some of the things that you can do.
Okay.
Or a decision to close branches because they're not profitable. Those are decisions. And you have to get to those decisions to explain how you got to those decisions.
How you got there.
And they're not popular. They may not be understood. You have to make people to understand them. And lastly, I'll say you must also separate between somebody who doesn't understand versus someone who doesn't agree. So when you've made the decision, now you're explaining it to people. Those people who don't understand, you have to give them 50 different examples to make them understand. But there's somebody who doesn't agree.
They understand but don't agree.
They don't agree.
Yeah.
So at some point, after a lot of explanation, you have to know that we're calling it now. I've explained. This is the reasons, whatever. We now have to move.
I get you.
Right? Some people later on might come back and say, actually, I never agreed with that decision, but now I see. Or if you got it wrong, you have to come back and own
Yeah.
and say, you know what, guys, we made this decision, we moved on, more facts and more data has come, we were wrong.
100%.
So I try and write about those mistakes I've made in my career in my book. And I explain how you have to go back, no egos, and say, with humility, I got it wrong.
I got it wrong, 100%.
Yes.
100%. I need you to speak into this camera. Speak directly to our audience. Your final remarks, advice, suggestion to what you believe people out there, business out there, should be thinking of, should be doing on a daily basis. This is gonna go as far as Nigeria, Malawi, Kenya, Namibia, Ghana, everywhere. So you're speaking to the continent basically.
I'm passionate about this continent. I want to be one of the midwives of Africa's rebirth. We can't look at our continent and feel helpless. We have to invest in its future. And its future lies with smart partnerships, the embracing of emerging technologies, smart, conscious investments into the continent, and unleashing the potential of young people and small businesses, and creating an Africa that's integrated. The big markets of the world are coming together to compete against other markets. Asia comes as one, as a block. Europe comes as one, as a block. Then there are big countries like Russia, China, India, right, and the States. They are big markets. We, as individual countries, are not big enough as a market. But as an integrated market, we can be bigger and better. There is a lot of innovation on this continent. It requires us to understand it. There's a lot of energy of young people in this continent. There's a lot of ingenuity of small businesses on this continent who, despite all the odds, are able to succeed. What we've got to do is to say, how do we see the success of Africans in other endeavors of life who compete with the rest of the world? But on business, we don't see ourselves to be competing with the rest of the world. My challenge to you is, don't look here, look to the future.
100%. 100%. Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you, sir.
Yo, Lincoln Mali for president.
No, politics is not for me.
Have you got aspirations to be president one day?
Not at all. Not at all.
But you spoke so well right now.
I think that there are different ways in which people can contribute.
Yeah, okay.
Politics is important. People participating in the political process is important.
Yeah.
But it's not the only route.
Okay.
There are other routes. Those who are in business can actually make a difference through business. Those in academia can make a difference. Those in sport.
Through that, yeah, 100%.
So you must align yourself with your passion.
100%.
When I was young, my passion was democracy in South Africa. Now, my passion is developing the next layer of leaders and getting businesses on this continent to succeed and thrive and make a difference in society. That's where my passion point is. So being a president or a prime minister or a premier or governor is nowhere near my passion points.
Okay,
I can make a difference where I am with what I'm trying to do.
100%.
That's where my passion is.
100%. So thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
I want to ask you one last one, then we're done.
Okay.
What does the future look like for Lincoln Mali?
I would like to go back to something I learned from Professor Clay Christensen,
Okay.
who asked us the difficult and intrusive question that says, how will you measure your life?
Okay.
And so for me, if I think about between now and the day I'm no longer here is, would my wife say I was a good husband? Would my kids say I was a good father? Will my community say I was a servant to them as a community? Will my colleagues say I was a good colleague? Will my fellow Africans say this was a good African who was a midwife to Africa's rebirth? Those are the things that I'm spending my time on.
Okay.
To be relevant in all those aspects of my life. Make a contribution in my family, make a contribution in my community, make a contribution in my society, make a contribution on the continent.
100%.
That's what I devote my time to. That's what the future holds.
Okay.
Is how I can be involved in all of those things. There's only 24 hours in a day. If I could make it 30, I would. But in that 24 hours, am I making a difference? Anybody that I meet or touch, am I able to influence them? Because leadership is influence, but it's also the humility to be influenced. Because a lot of leaders want to influence. They like that part, but they don't have the humility to be influenced. So I also want to be influenced whilst I'm influencing.
I love that. Say, thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Would
Thanks for having me,
definitely
Tim.
love to have you back.
Certainly, certainly.
Yeah,
certainly.
that's it. Episode 6 with Lincoln Mali. Hope you've enjoyed that. Till next time, thank you.